Now I bring to you our very own Demolition Diva, Simone. Where are you? Simone's going to talk to us about From Disaster to Pink Razzle Dazzle.
Yes.
Can't wait.
Thank you for having me here. I'm so excited. I have been invited to share this story, quite a bit in the United States, in Washington at the Chamber of Commerce. I recently returned from Japan, but never have I been able to share my story of hope and a small business emerging after disaster in front of my peers. And so I'm very excited. Thank you very much. I am here representing not only women, which I guess that would be the obvious, but also small businesses, because I have enjoyed hearing your stories about demolition, but I am the small company. I'm the small man, or shall I say the small lady in demolition. And my story is that I'm from New Orleans, and it really emerged out of a disaster. I'm asked all the time, how did I get into demolition? People take a look at me and say, how did you get into demolition? As a woman in this industry with no construction experience, no one in my family in construction, I found a niche and a passion in this industry. A little bit about my background, and I'll take this time to quickly say, I'm going to wait to show my slides at the end and just tell you my story in the beginning, because I'll get distracted as we go along. So I was an event planner in New Orleans, and so basically my life was to put on events much like this. It was in the hospitality industry, and so I sold Southeast Louisiana culture, jazz music, the plantations, Cajun parties. And so my job was to pick up my customers in limousines and sedans and take them to the best restaurants, the best hotels, and entertain. And that is what I did for 10 years. I had just bought my first little house. I was on my way getting started with life. And in one fateful day, 8 years ago now, Hurricane Katrina hit the city of New Orleans. Hurricane Katrina is the largest natural disaster to have hit our city, and it was also the largest man-made disaster because the levees failed. That was a problem by the Army Corps of Engineers. So prior to the storm, my life was very nice. I lived a high-heeled, single girl's life of parties. I did not pay to go to parties. I was paid to throw parties. And I say that because the story is really, what does demolition have to do with parties? And in one day, my life changed, and the party was over. The sounds that we were all used to, even in this setting, a refinement of clanging crystal, china, the nice things. It came to an end. The silence that I can try to explain to you after Hurricane Katrina was so loud. There were no birds. There were no people. There was the sound of nothing in a city. And I was single. Everything my parents owned was also flooded. Every home they had, their retirement rental properties. So my parents were trying to deal with their own tragedy. And as a single woman, I was trying to put together my own life. And I had no help. I had no boyfriend. I didn't have a husband. And I thought to myself, who is going to help me? I really figured that I needed a husband to pull me out of this situation. And there was no one. My father is from Brazil, and I had 2 Brazilian boys at the time of Katrina, and if anybody in the United States is here, you know that after a disaster, labor is very hard to find. I'll just say this. When I was just in Japan, I saw equipment everywhere, parked. They had cleaned all the C&D, the demolition was cleared out, but there was concrete slabs everywhere. And I said, well, what's going on? And they said, we have no labor. And they weren't going to import labor either. But in New Orleans, we had a different situation. We had an influx of people from all over the country, predominantly people without papers. And I'll tell you this story because I was, 2 Brazilian boys who did not speak English found their way to me, and they said, your father, we heard he's Brazilian, and my dad said, please go help my daughter, we're okay. Please help her get the things out of her house. Everything was flooded. My house was flooded, I lost my job. And so these 2 Brazilian brothers came to me, and I remember everything about this day because this day changed my life. This moment changed my life. I was sitting on a paint can, and I was holding my head, and I said, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And they said to me words that changed my life. O que é seu problema? What is your problem? And I said to them, do you understand what's going on here? I have no neighbors. I have no husband. There's no running water, no electricity. The city is dead, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And they said to me words that transformed me. They said, you are an American, and you have every right to start your own business. You're so lucky. Now, I've graduated from the university. I had a nice upbringing. But at this moment, it took simple, humble boys to show me that I could do this on my own. At that moment, I said, what can I do? And they said, start your own business. Start to help your neighbors. And that's exactly what I did. I started to help my neighbors. Because I was single, because I didn't have a husband, I was now free to start helping people. What I thought was my weakness and my fear became my strength. And so I started to organize church groups and volunteer groups, and I said, let me help you get the things out of your house. And then the neighbors came to me and said, okay, we're ready for demolition. Do you know anybody? And I said, I do. At this point, there was going to be an exchange of money. I needed some money. I had no income. And so I said, I'm going to start a demolition business. But the men are going to know that I don't know the name of this equipment. So I said, okay, I'm going to target women. I'm going to have everything pink, and women are going to trust me because men are going to know that I don't know the name of any of this equipment. And so I targeted women. I started Demo Diva with $250. I bought a $30 box of business cards. I bought magnets for my car, and that cost $50 because every good contractor has signs on his car in the United States. And then with the rest of the money, I went and I bought yard signs, plastic yard signs. And at this point, this was about 6 months after the storm, and demolition was already happening all over the city. So all of these properties, hundreds of properties, had been cleared. And these men had come in from all over the United States, no names on their equipment, no signage in anywhere. They didn't know how to market themselves. So I went to the homeowner and I said, would you mind if I put my sign here on a nice demolished lot with nice clean sand? And they said, well, sure, go ahead, put your sign. We don't know where this owner went. And in 1 week, I put out 100 signs. And it appeared that Demo Diva did 100 demolitions, and I did nothing. And with $250, I launched my company. And what I can say is perception is reality. And it appeared, they said to people around the city, said, Demo Diva, you're everywhere. You must be so busy. I said, we are so busy. We are blowing and going. And at this point, I had not done one demolition. At that point, I realized marketing was the key. These guys had come in with old equipment. They didn't know how to brand themselves. They didn't know how to sell themselves. I did not sell demolition. I sold trust. I told my neighbors, trust me to help you. I discovered at this point, how did a woman get into demolition? 2 reasons. One was branding, and the other was I discovered the emotional side of demolition. The side that people have behind every demolition is an emotion for the small companies. Now, I can't tell you there's a big emotion behind a nuclear power plant, but for the small companies, it's progress. It's an entrepreneur buying a new warehouse. It's a young couple building a house. And so, but in this case, in the first 2 or 3 years, it was tragedy. And I would cry with the people on their front lawns. I would pray with them, and I'd say, it's going to be okay. And in this, they began to trust me. And then from one demolition, we got 15 demolitions. And I never anticipated Demo Diva to grow. For 2 years, I owned no equipment. It was nothing but marketing, just grassroots marketing, because I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I loved the industry. I said, I'm not going back to the hospitality industry, and I decided to buy my first piece of equipment. So I went down to the Volvo dealership in my neighborhood, in my city, and I bought my first excavator. And in that purchase, I said, okay, now that we signed the deal, and I said, how much would your body shop charge me to paint this pink? And they said, oh, no, we don't recommend that. You don't understand how equipment goes. When you buy equipment, you only use it for 2 or 3 years, and then you come back and you turn it in, and you buy something new. And I said, now, this is a purchase today, correct? And he said, well, yes, ma'am. And I said, well, then let's paint it pink. And so he said, well, okay. So a week later, my pink machine was delivered. Now, I had just gotten my largest job, an entire city block for a university, right on the most busy thoroughfare in New Orleans. And so I put my marketing hat back on, and I said, my pink machine is going to sit right here for 1 month, and I'm not going to work it. And my crew said, what? I said, yeah, we're going to sit right here for 1 month so everybody can see the pink Demo Diva excavator. And then on a Sunday, it was raining, and everybody was going to the football game, so traffic was bumper to bumper slow. And I said, everybody report to work. It's Sunday. We're working. And I said, send me an extra operator. So I had an operator in the machine, and I rented another machine to do the work. And I put an operator in my pink machine, and I just kind of waved around. So everybody was honking at the Demo Diva. Suddenly, the city of New Orleans realized, look at this girl. She's now got her own equipment. Well, that news traveled up the chain of command, and I got a phone call from Walter Reeves, and he said, I hear that Volvo has a pink machine in New Orleans. Now they had just, someone at the dealership didn't want me to paint it pink. Now Walter says, I'm going to come to New Orleans for your ribbon cutting. What an honor. So that launched a little article in a magazine. And with that, Demo Diva marketing was out the gate. I bought dumpsters, trucks. I have, a roll-off now, another excavator. And so Demo Diva is iconic all over New Orleans as the pink girl. Well, one thing about an entrepreneur who starts a small business is that sometimes we're not really good at operations. I'm very good at ideas, but I'm not good at operations. And through this business, I've had to figure out how to attack things logistically with a demolition hat on, not just my marketing hat. So I participated in a course called Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses. And that was a program to help small businesses learn operations. Well, let me tell you who backs Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses. Warren Buffett. So Warren Buffett heard about our class in New Orleans. We were the first class to graduate after Katrina. And Warren Buffett says, I want to visit one small business. And I was that business that was selected for him to come to visit. Warren Buffett came to my job site with my new dumpster, my excavator, and my crew. And I was rehearsed to say what I had to say to Warren Buffett. And I said, Mr. Buffett, I'm inspired to grow an American business. And I had to rehearse this over and over. So in front of Warren Buffett, I said, Mr. Buffett, I'm inspired to grow an American business, and I was very nervous. And you inspire me. And then I curtsied, and it just came from the heart. And Warren Buffett was so tickled pink, that he dropped to his knee, and in front of me, he kissed my hand. And he said, "No, young lady, you inspire me." And I share this story because what does a small demolition company have to do with inspiring people in my city, inspiring mega men like Warren Buffett? It's because I've led with passion, and I've found a niche in an industry that I am so proud to be a part of. In this industry, we're changing communities. We're touching lives. And I've used social media as my outlet. It's not just an expression of demolition. It's the voice of the people in the community that I post about. Please, I ask you to follow us on Facebook. It's what I find about demolition is that you're touching the community's lives. And the community then gives you that feedback. I've also, and in this business, and much like how I got started in helping my neighbors for free, the law of reciprocity. What does that mean? That means when you give, you get something back for free. And in helping people, my business has just blossomed. I now sponsor 400 girls, inner city girls from poor neighborhoods to play flag football. The coach came to me and said, "Demo Diva, we see that you're a woman who has taken a non-traditional path. You would mentor and inspire these girls. These girls have not had opportunities. Would you sponsor them?" I said, "I'd love to." The mayor's wife came to me and said, "Demo Diva, we'd like for you to represent women. Come and speak to the young girls of our city." So as a small demolition company, it's not just a business. It's not just speaking into the community and social media. I have found a platform, an outlet to be part of raising up the next generation. So with that's the short version of the Demo Diva story and getting started with just a few dollars and a whole lot of passion. I'll now click through some of the pictures about my story. So this is my neighborhood, and here somewhere is my house. This is me about 17 days after trying to salvage just whatever I could. You can see the water line there. This is 10 feet of water. That's the disaster. There's the kitchen, the refrigerator that is full of awful things. And then this is us rebuilding. This is the artwork that I've hit the streets of New Orleans with. And this is what's on the side of all of our trucks, dumpsters, and it's become, iconic for girl power. And this is the beginning of the magic. This is the very first machine. It's used, and so I said, let's get that spray on there. And there's Walter for the ribbon cutting. We were excited about that. Here is my dump truck, and we have fun with that. And there is John. I said we have the power over men, and so we get them to wear pink. I want to make a note here, just to show you how quickly the world has changed. 8 years ago, just to show you how society has changed, men did not wear pink. This picture was taken 3 years ago. Men did not wear pink. Pink was not an it color, and that's how quickly things are changing. The name of my first machine was called the Smashing Star because she looks smashing. And these are some of the young kids in the neighborhood. I can't tell you, I can't go through McDonald's. If someone sees my car and they say, "Are you the Demo Diva?" They say, "You go, girl." They have just become so cheering me on. Here is the mayor of New Orleans. There is Warren Buffett, and that is my assistant, Rhonda, who holds everything together. There's Warren Buffett laughing with us on site. These are the girls that I sponsor and play with on Monday nights. Here's some of my equipment in front of one of the houses. So we started in residential demolition, and we've gone to warehouses, and now we're doing light, commercial and light industrial. And this is my future car. This is because demolition has been so good to me. Thank you so much for letting me come to share my story, and I hope to inspire other women to join this industry. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that very interesting presentation.